Hi guys, welcome back to the show. This is going to be a special Vault Viewings episode all about...
The Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman of recent coming out.
Coming out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We went to see it last Thursday.
Yeah, went to cinema.
I went to the pictures.
Yeah, saw it on big screen.
Big screen.
Yeah.
It was full as well.
It was full. Only a little...
Tiny screen, but I like that.
Screen.
Reclining chairs.
Yeah. Tiny little theatre.
Theatre.
Well,
I like that.
you know,
it's
a smaller group of chairs.
Yeah.
But I imagine they had several going on.
Few showings at the time.
Yeah.
Few showings.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, thanks for joining us on this Vault Viewings episode. As Mark said, we were talking about the Batman.
Oh, I think we best throw out there immediately. There will be because this
spoilers.
Is new. Yeah,
spoilers.
It is new.
We can't talk about the film without talking about the film. Yeah,
there does have to be spoilers. We're not practiced enough at film review to be able to realistically say there's going to be no spoilers, because there absolutely is.
100%.
In fact, I'm not even going to try and censor myself if I want to talk about it. You know what I mean?
If we're going to do it.
So there will be spoilers. But we have to say that because, it's brand new. And I know a lot of people will be planning to watch it if they haven't already.
So, again, let's save the episode. If you've not seen the Batman yet, don't listen to the episode. Should we say that?
Well, yeah.
If you have, keep listening.
Yeah.
Because you know what we're going to be talking about.
And if you're not asked about spoilers, then listen anyway. Just listen.
Listen. We love the listeners, and we know you're listening as usual, guys. Right, so go for it, Mark. Go on. Let's have a kick off. Kick it off.
For a start, and it always has to be said, and we say this every single time we discuss it, comes up immediately. Length. It has to be said. Let's just discuss it and get it out of the way.
Mate.
There's no need for a film to be this long.
3 hours.
3 hours long. It's been mentioned as a problem in the film by every single thing that I've ever seen, and anyone who's even talked about it, they're like, wow, a long film. And you're like, I know. Is it too much indulgent amount of time? No need for that length of film.
Our regular listeners to the show know that me and Matt's pet hate at the minute is fucking run times.
And this is emblematic.
100% is the poster boy.
Fucking 3 hours. When you told me right from the off, went, Mark, this film's going to be 3 hours, and I immediately launched into full rage. Enraged I was by the very notion. How dare you, Warner Brothers? How dare you expect me to have 3 hours to spend on an evening after work?
We've seen it after work as well, yeah? After work.
Yeah, it's just slung, a long... It could be called a slog, and I don't mean the content in it is a slog. We'll get onto the content, but 3 hours watching something continuously is no need.
2 hours, easy. This film could have been 2 hours.
2 hours. 100%. I'd even let you tick over the 2 hours.
2:15, 2:20. You know what I mean? Which isn't too bad.
Fine, but. I'll even allow that a long film, but you've got to fucking earn it. Could be like 2.5, but you've got to earn it. Like, I think for being something like that, you've to be a Bond film, frankly.
Well, the last one was 2.5, 2:40, I'm sure.
You've to be a Bond film, or throw a Star Wars.
But again, that's another film, half an hour. Take half an hour, and you're not. There's nothing missing from the film.
Is it? Yeah. And here's the thing where it is about the context. There's so much where you just think, what we said when we came out of the theatre, half an hour off of that film at least. At least half an hour.
And it'd still be the same film.
And because points get laboured, listeners, in the film, very much so, where you're just like, I don't need a scene establishing something and then a scene to reinforce it, fine, but then another scene to continue to reinforce
this is the relationship between Batman and Catwoman.
The relationship between Batman and Catwoman. I don't need a scene establishing it and so much reinforcement of it.
Every time we get see each other,
get it. They fancy each other.
Yeah, and they kiss, which is fine.
Fine, but it's just occasionally, I just thought to myself, we get it. do something else. This is an unnecessary scene. This is why it's 3 hours long, and this is why it feels like you're taking the piss.
A little bit.
Because you don't need it. You could cut a bit of that, and just have a tighter experience. It's just what I'm going to say, and I suppose I'm just ruining my opinion of it. Indulgent. It's an indulgent film.
I think, again, right, okay, so indulgent is correct, 100% correct for me. Indulgent in a way that... What is it trying to say? It's a very interesting film. There's the first thing I said to you. I said, for one, an hour too long, but interesting.
And I'd definitely agree. Super interesting.
Let's get it a kick off here now in the beginning of this episode. First thing I said to Mark when we walked out the cinema was, an hour too long, really interesting film. Is it a good film? And we both just looked at each other and went, I don't know. I don't think it is. Is it? I don't know. I still don't know.
Right. This is what I thought were fascinating when you said it. It's a really, really interesting film. I'll say right now, listeners, I don't care if we normally say this at the end of the show. Go and see it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah. But do I think it's a good film? And I paused and I was like, I don't know. I don't think it is. But with it being so interesting, that must make it kind of a good film, which is kind of what I wanted to say.
I also said as well, am I interested in seeing the continuation of this story? 100%.
100% straight away.
100%?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're not dogging it down. But I do think there's something lacking in it to make it a great film, or even actually much of a good film. It might be it's so interesting.
Is that the length? Is it the sheer length of the film? Is it too weighty in length? And
I think yeah. I think that's a really good point. I think it's weighed down by by its whole. The tone of it, it's sheer indulgence. It's weighed down by sheer indulgence that it regards itself as a weighty film, for one thing.
It's trying to be its own thing, completely different. Because
it's the thing, and you were immediately on top of this. It's trying to cleanse itself of previous Batmans,
100%,
but not totally. Sort of a light shower of a cleanse of itself, of its...
And do you know why I said that? And I said this to you at the time. For me, listeners, I think it's the most Batman-y Batman film we've had. Now, I say that because if you look back at the Keaton era, it's a dark fairy tale fantasy, right?
Yeah.
And fair enough, it's all about the villains in the Burton verse.
Well, that's what he likes. It's quite clearly what he really enjoys about and well, actually, his shtick for everything is having an interesting antagonistic figure, actually.
And I think that comes to a crescendo with Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. But realistically, every film that
even
Beetlejuice are really interesting.
The
Alice in Wonderland. It's the interesting part of it is the antagonist. It's a bit of a theme with Tim Burton. He likes a dark fantasy.
I'm moving on to the Joel Schumacher Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Again, they were a very campy.
Well, they made what you pointed out. They made this 1960s. Adam West.
Yeah, that was the tone.
It was the tone. Now, I remember saying...
The kids as well.
I said to you, yes,
they went the opposite way
from... It's a kids' film.
It went dark with Returns, Batman Returns, and then they went a 360 completely and went, oh, we don't really want the dark fairy tale now. We need commercialised, we need Val Kilmer, we need...
Batman and Robin Jones. Is a panto.
100%.
It's a panto. Now, I remember...
That's the worst one. I know. George Clooney with nipples.
I know, and
Batgirl!
I'll come on to the voice, but I've always loved George Clooney. That don't even make an attempt.
I'm George.
Hi.
Yeah, he don't even bother.
I'm George
Batman.
Clooney. Batman.
I'm
Like,
Batman.
he don't even bother.
I'm
Does not
Batman.
even bother.
And then again, go on.
I remember really loving that film, Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin.
As a
Last one.
child, and I swear to God, I was a child that could have been no older than fucking, I don't know, 8 or 9 when I watched it, and I thought, ha, cool.
Yeah, how cool is this?
Cool.
He's driving his like car
You know
on
what
the
I mean?
wall and on this.
But you just look, but it's because they're kids' film,
Yeah.
so the Christopher Nolan ones came along as a reaction to that. They're very
years
grounded.
later as well.
Years later. Well, yeah, because Batman and Robin was understood at the time to have killed a comic book film.
Yeah.
It didn't for
Because Blade was just around the corner.
yeah,
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. So again, moving on to the Nolan trilogy with Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. Even introduced a completely different version of Batman. Tried to get more gritty and grounded. And I'm Batman. Like that's like
His thing.
But it's fantasy still because, like I pointed out to you, you've got in Batman Begins Ra's al Ghul where he's reincarnated and he can change his appearance.
Yeah, there are slightly more fantastical elements of it. Here's the thing, Christopher Nolan's trilogy, I always struggle to talk to people about because people regard them as masterpieces and they're just...
Not true.
No. As a trilogy, quite meh, really. I'm sorry, there's a fairly decent one, which is Batman Begins. There's a good film.
Really good film. It is a good
It's
film.
a good film.
Dark Knight,
It's
really
Dark
good.
Knight.
Really good.
And a meh film in Batman.
Many
the
issues
third
with
one.
Dark Knight Rises.
So very uneven.
I'm talking through my mask.
Yeah.
Can you hear what I'm saying?
I have no idea.
Tom
Right,
Hardy.
so very uneven set of films.
Only, and you know what? It's interesting because I only found out your opinion on that trilogy through this film. We hadn't had a discussion about it before, and totally fucking agree.
Yeah, they're very uneven group
Totally
of films.
agree, you're
and I
100%
even
right.
thought to myself, would even The Dark Knight be remembered as fondly were it not the external stuff about Heath Ledger? He literally died and they gave him a posthumous Oscar and stuff like.
Really
and
good in
it's
it.
really good in it. He's really good in it. I'm not taking away
No,
from
not
that at all. But without that extra bit of dark and tragedy about the film, would it be as elevated as it is?
Definitely contributed. Definitely. Has to have.
It's not there, listeners.
100%.
It's not there. But a good film is The Dark Knight.
But again, is Batman portrayed as being Batman? And moving on to the Batman, and again, let's not kind of swerve it, but I quite liked Zack Snyder's version of Batman with the older Batman with Ben Affleck as Batman, because it reminds me of this really famous comic book called The Dark Knight, and it's about Superman, Batman coming out of retirement as an old man to fight Superman.
It's one of the famous ones. If you're a Batman fan, I suppose.
Really good comic. The really famous storyline. But again, trying to make my point.
Superman.
Yeah, in fact, Superman, and it basically did that in Dawn of Justice, where he puts on this metal suit.
I
Batman?
can't stand Batman versus Superman.
I know.
You know, a just baffling film that's just fucking. At the one time, really, really boring, and the other time, really, really up itself at the same time. But I don't mind Ben Affleck. I don't mind. I don't
get the hate.
And I know exactly why people hate him, because people were still fanboying over Christian Bale. And now, as I've said, if you look back at it, they're not that great. Just go and watch it. They're all right. They're pretty all right.
Yeah, they're pretty
good to all right.
Yeah.
But everyone was so enamoured with those ones at the time, never gave Ben Affleck a chance.
Yeah,
to
and
play
again,
it.
I think maybe my appreciation is fed into more, shall we say, because of my association with comic books, and I'm quite well versed in the world of comics.
I understand that. But what I think's interesting in relation to the Batman is that we're talking about this film, The Batman, and we're talking about its predecessors. like all the things that have been led up to them. This film is so about what has gone before. It's a hard nosedive into Christopher Nolan's his aesthetic, like how he's done it, but it's gone deeper.
Well,
it's a hard dive into his. It's been a reaction against the Affleck years.
So when I say I think it's the most Batman-y Batman film we've had, because what does DC Comics stand for, Mark?
Detective Comics. Comics, as you told me
and
the other day.
I mean, the common public and you listeners might not know this, but Batman is known as not just the Dark Knight, but the world's greatest detective. And this is the only Batman film so far where he actually does a bit of detecting
in a long time.
But by doing that and bringing that into that realm of, like you're saying, so swerving and trying to wash away, or this is this is the new version now. So
what? Even the studio, Warner Brothers themselves, DC, Warner Brothers.
It is Warner Brothers on DC Comics.
Well, yeah, but the studio have been very, very explicit of this is its own thing.
Yeah,
it's not going to link into anything else. It's its own fucking thing.
And do you know why they've done that? And do you know how they've done that? Like I explained to you, mate, when we discussed the film before we recorded the show. They've almost took it as grounded, because even the Bale universe, it tried to make it a little bit grounded, but again, these fantastical elements. He's got a flying spaceship, basically. And again, with Ra's al Ghul and all that. But with this, they've almost gone, he's just a guy in a suit, and
there's literally no fantastical element.
There's not in that Gotham that it portrays in this version, the Batman. And and to be fair, he is called the Batman. Anyone that goes, that's Batman, I'm going to get a bit defensive over it, because he's called the Batman.
Okay.
Superman goes, the Batman.
Yeah.
Everyone goes, where's the Batman? Not where's Batman. It's the 100%, guys. Trust me. His real name, and if you're going to say anything and call Batman anything, please call him the Batman, because that is the correct. And any other way, he's just not.
Okay.
So anyway, going back to the grounded point, and I said again, it's one of the first things that I said to you when we was discussing it. They've had to make it its own thing for you to. I mean, the whole Justice League debacle, it's well publicised, guys, out there. It was a fucking shit show from get-go.
Joke of a production, joke of a film, just the whole thing.
Mess.
A massive disaster. Warner Brothers just walked into a wall of fire. Yeah.
Not a clue what they were doing.
I'm really glad you brought up a Marvel film, because this is also, it's the antithesis of a Marvel film. This is not a superhero film.
It's not
at all.
Not at all.
At all. And for one, it hasn't marketed itself,
and it doesn't play it like that at all.
He understands it's going to get that audience, but it isn't that. This isn't a superhero film. This is a dark, gritty crime drama with action elements.
100%. That's quite a good summarisation.
Well, it is.
I like that, mate. Yeah,
it absolutely is.
I agree.
It's not it's a vigilante film. Is this? He is a vigilante.
Well, they actually say that to him in the film.
That's what I mean. That's baseline. That's what Batman is. That's what he's always been. Just because he does it for justice does not mean that he's not a vigilante.
Right. That leads me on to the characters and actors in the film. Let's talk about them. Right. So Robert Pattinson, what do you say about his role as Batman in The Batman?
He's pretty passable. He's good. I would go so far as say good. He's another one that people are not willing to give him a chance because he were in Twilight.
Which was me. My hands up, because the first thing I said was, oh no, I'm not having that. And oh no, there's fucking triangle head. No, I'm not having it at all.
No. Like, literally. Yeah, everyone didn't want to give him a chance. But honestly, just put your Twilight baggage, and we've all got baggage. I was there.
Never seen him.
Yeah, well,
don't want to.
Yeah, I was there for the Twilight Wars. It wasn't pretty. We lost a lot of good people in the Twilight Wars. You know what I mean? Just put that to one side, and just watch him. He's good. Is he great? No.
Is he Bale level?
Yeah.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
He's no worse or no better than Bale.
And you know, this film will be absolutely delighted with that analogy. Have you done as good as Christian Bale? Because bearing in mind that this film regards that as the definitive go Batman. Even though he does sweet fuck all with the character, Christian Bale does nothing with him. He's a nothing shell of a character.
He's just there to beat the bad guy in every single one, in all three of them.
The good guy.
No, he's the good guy, but his purpose in each film, like you're saying, there's just I've got to I've got to stop the bad guy.
And in a way, Batman in this, he has more motivation in this, in that, which is reflected in his personality, than Christian Bale. So in a sense, he's probably better than Christian Bale, but it's about as good.
I'm not. Genuinely, I was hating from the get go, and then I was like, no, it's all right.
Yeah,
he's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right.
And you know what? I'll say actually about all the cast.
Go on.
Except one standout.
Yeah, one standout.
One absolute standout.
We agree on.
Yeah. Are all pretty like that.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, everyone? I'd go so far as to say they do a good job.
Yeah, they do.
With what they've got.
Okay, yeah.
Good, yeah.
The guy who plays Gordon's decent in it.
Yeah,
you know, Catwoman's decent.
Liked him,
Zoe
liked
Kravitz.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Liked everyone in it. But the standout has got
for
to
us.
be the gentleman playing the Penguin, which was, of course...
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell disappears into the part.
Favourite character in the film. Great character. I want to see more. And they are making HBO are making a spin-off TV series about the Penguin becoming the head of the crime in Gotham now.
He deserves it.
Falcone's fucking gone.
He deserves that. He got really good performance.
Really
Warrior
good.
said to you, I don't know about this now, but like, get him his nomination for something. I'm not sure he'd win, but nominate him for a supporting thing.
It'd be very interesting, but I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. But
Penguins, really best character in the film.
Brilliant character, really good. Actually, one of the only ones in this film where I'd say they've done the whole of him really well.
Really good.
The rest of it is let down by something.
I think even the Falcone is the big bad in it in terms of crime. You know, because you've got the Riddler storyline, and which we'll get onto in a second. And you know, even that for me was a bit weak. The crime guy was a bit weak, and that side of the story was only for me. It just served the purpose for the Catwoman's motivation more than anything,
which, as well, was also rather threadbare.
A little bit.
And now I'm going to make it sound like I always like a Catwoman.
But Pfeiffer though, come on,
Michelle Pfeiffer. She is Catwoman. I think of Michelle Pfeiffer's one when if someone goes. I always say. If you think of an iconic character, which one do you think of first? If you think Catwoman, you think Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mate.
That one, you think that one.
Mate, she's naughty in Batman.
She's naughty.
She's naughty in
She is naughty.
And she plays it naughty.
Yeah. She's got great character.
Great.
She and that. This girl.
Different
altogether.
And even that, she doesn't even play Catwoman as a burglar. She's just trying to find out about what's gone on with her mate.
Likeable. I liked the character.
Yeah, but not unlikable.
A bit weak in how she links into our main storyline, because it turns out
the Falcone is a dad. Spoiler, guys. She's related. She's the daughter of the big crime boss of Gotham.
Now, I immediately one of the first things I asked you when we came out, like, is that a thing in a comic book? And you went no, and I was like, okay, fine. It's just one of those okay, fine. Because I was like, if that's the thing in a comic, I know why it was done, but if not, it just seems a bit weak.
Again, I think that was that side story.
Linkage into the main plot, other than the fact that she fancies Batman, was to get the character is really good,
and their relationship's okay as well. Again, they do hammer it home. That's the only problem with their relationship. It's not a bad relationship, and they both kind of
laboured the point, like I said.
100%.
But I get it. You've got to be there for your fan service. But here's the thing: I I don't think you can justify too many scenes by just saying, well, it's fan service, innit? Well, you've served the fans.
Yeah. By making another one.
Yeah, just... You've made it. You've already served the fan. Chill out.
So what about the Riddler?
Wow. Well...
Weak villain.
What's his motivation?
What knows? I said this to you. I don't know.
Why
He goes on about orphanage and privilege. I'm like, oh no, the weak.
It's just really... It just never makes clear. If his motivation were, I just hate Bruce Wayne because he had more than me, and I hate
at the end when he interviews him, right, interrogates him, he knows he's Bruce Wayne.
He does know.
He knows he's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
and it never uses that as an interesting plot thread, and
it hints at it as if because they linger on his face that he knows that this fella, the Riddler, knows he's Bruce Wayne, right?
Don't say how he's worked out.
They hint at it, but don't explore it. And here's the thing. What annoys me about this film is you've got interesting stuff to play with. And it's a 3-hour film, so it's not like you haven't got the time.
Yeah.
But nothing's explored, nothing's developed. All we get is it's a very obvious Gossamer Thin plot. That's construed to look complicated, but at no point did I ever think to myself, who's done that? Well, the Riddler did it.
And I think as well...
It was more a quest to learn why, and at the end it was, that why?
Yeah, really though.
Really?
Yeah. And then, consequently, by his actions of killing, firstly, in the beginning of the film, he kills Gotham Mayor, and that's what starts off the story, and he starts leaving clues for the Batman, which takes Batman on the path of the film. That's the plot line. Really weak. Motivation's really poor, and I think that his actions, and then the reactions, his actions, in terms of... So again, guys, spoilers. Like literally, we've got like 45 minutes left of the film, and they capture the Riddler. He actually pretty much he just gives himself up, basically.
Yeah.
He just like, come and catch me, here I am. And then all of a sudden, you find out he's influenced this kind of cult that dresses up like him, and they try to.
Which is again, it's fine as a plot point. It's just. Hastily done, which I find baffling in a film that had this amount of time to play with.
There's no hint at anything like that. Again,
no.
From then on, like
well, it is. It's there at the climax, but there's not.
But only when he releases that video.
There's not a lot of it. Yeah.
To go, I've got loads of followers. You're like, well, what?
There's not a lot of setup.
There's no build up to it.
There's not a lot of setup, and. Here's another thing that kind of gets on my nerves, and you pointed it out to me. There's a scene in this film, and this kind of links into this of setup and a payoff.
It's lacking that.
Yeah. But at the end, there's a payoff that has no setup.
Yeah, we've noticed this, guys. So...
When you tell him the context.
Right, so in the context, again, another thing I noticed about this film, normally films plant seeds to have a payoff. It's just the A and the B.
It's literally called that. Planting and payoff.
Yeah.
You plant the seed and then you pay it off.
So when it all kicks off in that like arena, when all these other... Yeah, so all these Riddlers and these guys dressed up as Riddlers now.
All the Riddlers.
This fucking they just take over this arena where the new mayor's just been elected and she's giving like a speech. And Batman gets shot in the chest, like really close range with like this shotgun. And he's on the floor and he's literally like...
winded.
He's winded. He's like, oh man, that's knocked him down, that. And then all of a sudden... He's pulling this fucking green shit.
Magic serum.
This magic serum out of his hand.
Some magic juice.
And he stabs it into his leg now. Right, so not only this juice gives him superpower to like all of a sudden he's fine to get back on his feet and he can fight again.
It gives him a massive boost.
A massive boost of like adrenaline or whatnot, right? But not only that, there isn't a scene previous to this where you see him
setting that up.
What is in that thing?
Yeah.
What is it?
What is it?
Why
And
is
you
it so?
immediately went, there's a scene missing in this
100%.
film.
And it's a 3-hour film.
In a 3-hour
There's a
film!
scene
And that's
missing.
what immediately annoyed me. When, as soon as you pointed it out, there's a scene missing.
I noticed
because
it straight away.
no one
I went,
ever
"Whoa."
gave him that. And nor did they ever set up that if he's in a tight spot, like he could die,
Yeah.
put this in your side, in
Yeah.
your leg,
He just has it.
and it'll give you a boost, a momentary boost. That sort of thing would have had a setup.
And there's even like a where he actually jabs it into an
part of
actual.
his
It's
suit.
part of his suit
It's
where
part of
he
his
injects
suit.
it himself.
Yeah, where's the
Where's-
scene
No.
of it? Could have just been Alfred, and who goes, yeah, look, he won't sound like this. He won't sound
Well,
like
he's
it would
English.
but he won't sound like a Yorkshire puff, would he? Yeah, look. If you find yourself a bit wobbly, a bit ropey,
Pickle.
yeah, you fucked basically.
Yeah, you fucked.
Right. Stab this in your leg. Right, as right.
In that bit where the suit where we purposely made
Yeah,
that little hole.
and we've even made you a little thing in your hole.
Just in case you need
yeah,
it.
and go, oh, cheers, Alfred.
None of that.
None of that. No setup at all. It's just got this magic serum. And what immediately made me angry is like, how in this length of film have you got plot threads that you're paying off that you haven't set up,
Yeah.
and setups that you haven't had payoffs for? What? How in a film that is so indulgently long have you got silly plot threads like that just
Yeah.
dangling there?
Again, I think this emphasises the point for me where is it a good film? I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a good film there.
There is a good
because
film
it's
there.
interesting and I want to see more. So there's definitely
I have to
things
say,
going on in a very interesting film.
visual style
Oh,
has to be spoke about.
yeah.
A very dark film.
all happens at night mainly.
Yeah, and it's always fucking lashing it down.
Pissing down.
You can tell the film some of it in Liverpool, and you can tell it's
Yeah,
the
yeah, the
northwest of
funeral
England.
scene, yeah, the
you
funeral
can tell
scene.
it's the northwest of England because it lashes it down all the time in this film. So much so that it distracted me a bit, but it was a choice. It's an artistic choice.
Okay, so talking about artistic choices, what about the way it's shot? Now, again, another thing that I pointed out to Mark is every time the camera's too close.
It's right in his face.
The camera's too
literally-
close so many times. It doesn't let it breathe. It doesn't. There is
It's a
wide
very
shots.
close, confined film.
The way it's shot is, for me, not great. It isn't great. Could it have been wet? Yeah, because it hints at the bigger picture.
Again, I think it's good. I don't think it's great.
I think it's trying to be falsely intimate.
Falsely intimate, yeah. Because
You know what I mean by
here's
that?
the thing. I found this film to be very much a film of two halves, which makes you think you could have made two fucking
said that, yeah.
normally length films.
Yeah.
And what I mean by this is the first half of the film is a detective noir thriller.
Trying to be.
And trying to be,
Yeah.
and to some extent succeeding to some extent.
I agree.
And the second half of the film is an action film, and it's almost jarring. The tick over
It's
between
like
the
do
two.
you know what
It's at the midpoint, and by the midpoint I mean in storytelling the midpoint, which might not be actually halfway through the film. But there's a film of two halves here, and I mean it does make you think you could just have made two normally length films.
Interesting.
But it's two different films, and I found the crossover between them somewhat jarring. The second half I thought was weaker than the first half. Not that it's bad, but it was setting up this noir detective thing, and it's almost like it obligatory in the second half. Oh, it remembers, I'm a Batman film and we have to have some proper action. They've had fights, there's been a few fighting
Yeah, but
moments
at the very
early
beginning
on.
of the film, it kind of, he's actually narrating it.
That's got to be there, but there's fights in lots of things. But it turns into more of an action-focused film for the second half of the film after the midpoint.
I think is the turning point the
almost
Batmobile scene.
Yeah, and I feel like it's obligatory. It feels like it has to do that
Because it's a Batman
because
film.
it's a Batman film.
Yeah, I agree.
and that's what I mean. I found it tonally a bit jarring, not bad, jarring. Like,
oh, you're this now. You want to be this now.
You're this now.
Yeah.
And it's making such a statement with every single scene. It wants to be memorable. It wants to be a really good Batman, but also different. But everything you ever wanted in a Batman, but also makes you think,
like, oh, this is
you
new.
don't know what it is. This film don't know what it is. It's not there. It wants to know what it is, but it don't know what it is. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I get where you're coming from.
It wants to cleanse what had happened before.
100%.
But it's searching for its audience, this, and I have time for that. It's searching for
talking about that, mate, it's making its money.
It is making its money. And I've got one other thing.
500 mil?
Yeah.
Already?
And so it might have well worked, because I was worried that this was going to be a tonally absolutely slog of a film.
The problem is, mate, that when I first showed you those teaser trailers, he was like, oh, hello.
Interesting.
Hello.
Yeah.
I want to see this. And then the actual theatrical trailer, what a trailer. Really good trailer. And I said to you, Mark, you want to watch the Batman trailer because it's a proper...
Yeah.
The trailer...
But the trailer is
sold
really
it for me. Sold it. Is that a true representation of the film? Not at all.
No, not
really. Is it really good scenes that make a really good trailer? 100%.
Yeah. And it's brilliantly shot. And, well, it's not brilliantly shot. It's presented... It's beautifully presented.
Yeah, the trailer is,
yeah. And even the film is beautifully presented. It's not beautifully shot because it's bafflingly close camera, just close ups all the time.
I know that
all the time. And I'm real just like, let's see the world a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's the direction
it was a choice that.
I think so.
And here's the thing: it's not a joyless film. It's utterly humourless, by the way. There'll be nary a joke in sight.
Bit of swearing.
They hinted at a joke, but they didn't say a joke. They hinted at a joke because how the dialogue is passed. He goes, "You got a lot of cats."
Oh, when he goes to her house.
He goes to her house, Catwoman's house. Well, obviously, and he goes, "You got a lot of cats," and she goes, "I like strays," and they say it in almost like that's meant to be a quip.
Yeah.
Kind of tone,
Flirty
if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and you're like, and I was like, what is that line? Were you like, shall we have a joke? No, wrong film.
Yeah.
Like, and so I was like, a bit of a weird, because it feels like the lead up to a joke where he deadpan goes, "You got a lot of cats."
Got a lot of cats, Batman.
You know what I mean? And you were like, are you going to make a joke? And I was like, oh, you didn't. But I thought you were going to, so it was weird. But except for that, a humorless film, not a joke.
Yeah,
even the fucking Riddler's name, like, even I knew the Riddler's last name in every single comic book is Nigma. Edward Nigma. So his name is Enigma. And you're like, silly comic book name. Because every fucker knows that comic book characters have silly names.
Yeah.
You'll not get any of that here.
None of that.
None of that.
They purposely say his surname. They go, his name is Edward Summit, not Nigma.
Somewhere else, not Nigma. And you're like, because heaven forbid there's even a touch of levity in this film. Even a touch of levity that we can't even remotely acknowledge that this came from a thing that used to be sold for 10p to children.
Yeah.
You can't even hint at that.
Yeah.
And you're like, here's what annoys me, but I really like about it. It's its own thing with its own visual style, but it does kind of annoy me that they can't just lighten up just a little bit.
Well, this is what you said before we even seen it.
Yeah. Just cheer up a little bit. He's a man who dresses up as a bat and fights crime.
Yeah.
Cheer up. I know that, like, you're going to go, comic book a bit. Sure, fine. But it's a man who dresses as a bat.
Right.
To fight crime.
Right, so
cheer up.
I'm going to get slightly defensive here because
I know.
Batman is inherently the darkest super. I mean, he hasn't got any superpowers.
Yeah.
But he is.
Yes.
From day one, he's always been. He's the darkest.
It might be the darkest but it doesn't make it inherently just all the time. I'm sure in any other iteration, as Bruce Wayne in particular, I'm sure he'll have cracked a joke or maybe smiled once, and
Oh no,
you know what I mean. Just,
not in this one.
Not in this one. There's not a hint of joy. It's not joyless because you will find enjoyment in it.
Yeah.
But there's not a hint of joy. It don't want you to feel joy. It wants you to feel profound and deep and thoughtful and a bit worried. That's what this film wants you to feel. It don't want you to feel joy. It's not a joyful film.
No.
It's weird.
So saying that, let's give it a rating.
I'm sort of torn. I feel like a 6 would be unfair, but I feel like a 7's high praise.
I'm with you. Do you know, in my head, I'm 6.5, but we can't go out.
I can't. I'm not having an half.
We're not having an half.
We have to decide, and I love that you've said exactly the same thing. Where it's like a 6 seems harsh, and a 7 seems calm down. Do
you know what? I think I'm gonna go. For me, I'm gonna go 7.
I'm gonna go 7
because I'm gonna justify that. Because it is an interesting film.
It's unique and interesting.
And I'm very interested to see where they take this character in that world. Because, ladies and gentlemen, spoilers, they hint at the Joker, and pretty much the Joker is in the film. Well, they don't
hint at him.
It is the Joker.
They go, Joker will be in next one.
Yeah.
And, you know what they wanted? They wanted all the fanboys to immediately...
That's the Joker.
It's the Joker, and I don't know, ejaculate and eat the chairs, whatever they wanted to do, out of pure ecstasy. That was going to be the Joker.
The director, Matt Reeves, who directed a couple of the recent Planet of the Apes, which are decent.
Yeah.
And he directed that Cloverfield as well. You know, the first handheld footage thing with it. It's like the monster thing.
Yeah.
He's actually said, he's got ideas, and Pattinson said, I'm on board. So and it's making its money. So pretty much it is going to get a sequel.
Yeah,
just
1, please be shorter. 2, cheer up just a touch, just a touch, and just make it a bit more meaningful. Make it look like that, but a bit more punch to it.
Yeah.
Make it like, don't do something different, do something like that but better. Like that but better.
Okay.
Try a bit harder, and if you're going for Christopher Nolan's trilogy like that, he did that, but a bit better the next time. So just do that, please.
He got better, so just you can.
Do that next one, please.
Yeah, do the next one better.
Make a really good one. Don't make a good one, make a really good one.
So, and on that note, guys, make a really good one next time.
Yeah.
So, thanks for joining us on this very special Vault Viewings.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys. Again, get us on the social medias. vaultofcult@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at the Vault of Cult. Yeah. And hopefully we can get some engagement. Give us your thoughts if you've seen the film. Again.
Yeah. Tell us why we're wrong.
Yeah.
We're not, but tell us why you think we are.
Yeah. Is that it, Mark?
Yeah.
So, thanks for joining us, guys, and it's a goodbye from me.
And me. Bye.